Hey guys, Justin Jensen here, and this is
Jim Wolf, what's going on?
Jim. And we're here to talk to you today a little bit about our story, which you've probably seen on the other videos, but also talk about why we're putting on this conference and what it means to be a naturally attractive man.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Justin, why are we doing this? Like, why are we having a conference in Las Vegas in February called the Level Up Men's Conference talking about becoming the naturally attractive man? Why are we doing this?
it's crazy, dude. I don't even know why we're doing this. No, seriously, it's because we have a passion about men's development. I have a passion about my own development. My own personal why is that I was not very good with women, and it really bothered me. Although I stuffed it down with alcohol and just doing some stupid stuff, and it wasn't like I couldn't get girlfriends. It's just that they ended up choosing me, and then my dating pattern was they'd break up with me. Almost like clockwork, like 6 months, 9 months, and I just got tired of it. I got really tired of it, and I got tired um, of just getting what it felt like getting stomped on. And so those experiences really launched me into what am I doing? What is my role in this? If you look at if you look at these things, it's like what's the common denominator, right? And that usually comes down to you. If you're seeing the same experiences happening over and over again, it's chances are it's you, it's not other people. So I've been in personal development for a long time, and that those moments in my life are what brought me here today, because it's something that I've learned how to navigate and create a really great life out of. And trust me, if I can do it, like anybody can do it. I don't mean that to be like cliche. Like I really mean that. It's not like I had this wonderful start in life. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And for me, I mean, like, Justin has a really awesome podcast. I've written a few books. We both produce a lot of content in different areas, but I know Justin and I both love working with people in person. And we think that Las Vegas is a great place to do that. People love to go there. It's going to be fun. And we really want to meet you in person. That's what we really love to do at the end of the day. We both love personal development, but we love working with guys in person more. And also, we love going to personal development conferences. I know, Justin, you and I have talked about this a lot, but every time that I invest in myself and go to a conference like this, I end up coming out the other side a much better person and really happy that I decided to do it. And so we want to offer that experience for you, and doing it together is also something that's exciting for us. We became friends a couple of years ago, and then this kind of idea just came out of our friendship. And so I'm really excited to work with you and also with you, Justin, at this conference because, like you said, we both bring our unique backgrounds and experiences to it, which come from two slightly different angles. And I think it's going to be awesome for you when you come hang out with us in Vegas. And for me, there were kind of two big problems in my life that I had to figure out how to solve. And it took me years. I've been working on personal development and specifically dating and relationships for the past 13 years. And my two big problems were number one, whenever I started liking a girl a lot, I could never keep her around. I've always been pretty good at flirting. It's always been really fun for me to be social and outgoing and all of that stuff. And I actually enjoy public speaking, which most people fear more than death. So I never had a problem with like the general social skills of life. But when I really started liking a woman, I couldn't keep her around because of some of the issues that I had from my past and things like that. I was kind of scared of being in a relationship, and I had a lot of things that I was doing that I wasn't aware of that kind of pushed women away if I started liking them. And so that was a huge problem for me. And I figured out how to solve that. And now I want to share that with you. And also, the second problem I had, once I figured out how to keep a woman attracted and in love over a long period of time for years and years and years, as long as you want, the other problem that I had was I got everything that I thought would make me happy in my life, and I felt fucking miserable and still felt lonely, even though I was with the woman I really wanted to be with. And that was a really scary moment for me because I had worked so hard to get all those things into my life, and then I got them, and I still felt horrible. And so I had to figure out how to start valuing myself in a real way, how to start living the life that I really wanted to live instead of what I thought everyone else wanted me to be. and how to have higher self-worth and higher self-esteem and to be fulfilled on my own, and ultimately to build a lifestyle that I actually genuinely love, whether any particular woman wants to be with me or not. And that's what Justin and I want to do for you in Las Vegas. We want to help you start right now on the path to creating a life that you genuinely love for yourself, and at the same time learning the social skills, the dating skills, and the relationship skills that are going to allow you to be successful with women, whatever that means to you. And so that's why I'm really excited about this conference.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And you brought the Vegas point. Of course, that's the fun part of
Yeah.
why we chose that location, anyways. But yeah, I think the in-person experience is not only something that we enjoy doing, not just as coaches, but as people that go to these conferences and network with people in the field and just talk to people. But also from a coaching perspective, I would much rather do conferences and one-on-ones than, I mean, I love my podcast and it's great and
Yeah.
I will always continue to do it, but it's a way to reach, people like you. And to really, at the end of the day, that's the goal, is to raise, we have a term for this, and it's raised like the relationship happiness value. And I'm probably saying that wrong, and Jim can correct me here, but there's a problem, and the big problem is that people just aren't really happy in their relationships, and
Yep.
the reason why has more to do with the self than the other person, and
Definitely.
that's what we're here to do, is to help you help yourself in relationships.
That's exactly right. I couldn't have said it better. And I mean, right now, only 10 to 30% of relationships are happy, healthy, and functional. And so it's something that we have to learn. And Justin and I are really excited to share what we know about having fulfilling relationships with you, along with the dating skills that we know so much about, and also having a fulfilling life. And, there's something to be said about brotherhood. That's something that you and I talk
Hmm.
about a lot.
Hmm.
And when you come to a
Hmm.
conference like this, you're going to meet other guys who are interested in developing themselves also. And not only is that cool just for you to connect with other cool guys, it also helps you feel like you're not alone on this journey. I don't know about you, Justin, but I did personal
Hmm.
development by myself for so long. And when
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, you start out doing it like, oh, I don't know if anyone is going to be okay with this. And then the first time you really go out and see that other people are doing the same things as you and they have the same problems as you start to feel like you're not alone, and you start to see that there are resources out there. There's other people like you. And I think that's a huge amount of value. And I don't know about you, Justin, but I'm excited to meet the guys who come to Vegas because they're also interested in the same things that we are. And I love connecting with people like that because, if you just go to work at your office, chances are like 9 out of 10 people there are not going to be developing themselves. And it's really hard
Hmm.
to find people that are into personal growth. And so I think the brotherhood aspect is another thing that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. There's a real big community, and actually that's a real big problem. I spent, I mean, 15 years basically working on myself, and it's not like I'm done. There's
Yeah.
always room to grow. There's
Yeah.
always going to be that, but it's hard to find people that are on that level. And so I think one of the biggest things I'm excited about too is building a community of like-minded people. It makes me so happy, and it's so much fun to
Yeah.
connect other like-minded people, which is a big thing that I was doing at the Art of Charm. It's a big thing I do now. It's really wonderful to connect, because we know how hard it is to
Yeah.
to find people, and if we can make that easier, uh, so much the better, and you can really raise your quality of life by raising the people that you surround yourself with, because those
Yeah.
end up being the ones that push you, even though sometimes that makes you uncomfortable or might piss you off. But at the end of the day, those are the people that you want to be with, because they grow you, not hurt you.
Yeah, and the main reason why I like working with you, Justin, besides the fact that we're friends and you're a cool guy and you challenge me to be better because I see the way you live, and then I'm like, oh, I want to add that into my life. Besides just that fact, you and I both actually really care about our clients, which is
Right.
actually really, everyone says they do. And I hate to be kind of cliche here, but we actually do. We really want you to be successful. That's why we're doing this. For me, I could work at another job right now and make 5 times as much money, but I actually care about
Right.
you and your success is our success. And we actually believe that. That's why I'm working with you, Justin, for that's the main reason why I'm working with you.
Yeah, we're on a mission. We talked about this earlier, and just a few minutes ago, but and actually even in your book, Level Up, you mentioned, I forget the term, but it's the unhappiness, the amount of unhappiness that is happening in relationships that's causing further harm. Because if you're in a toxic relationship, or if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, that really sets you back in your confidence, in how you feel about yourself, and that affects everything. It affects the amount of money you make. It affects the amount of people you have. It affects your family relationships. It affects everything. And so what I really enjoy is working with somebody like yourself, Jim, that's on the same mission, and the same on the same wavelength, because yeah, it's not about money. There's a lot of different ways we could make money. We could develop apps and just do a bunch of passive income. I mean, there's like so many ways to make money, but it's the place that you come from, in anything in life, that really sets your path and really lays out your success. It's where you come from on the inside that determines what you see on the outside,
Yeah,
and what you receive on the outside too.
yeah, I mean, you receive through the hole that you give through. That's We'll just give you a tip for the naturally attractive man right
Yeah,
now. You get back what you put out, basically. That's one of the
yeah.
huge tenets of being a naturally attractive person. And you and I both believe in that philosophy, and that's one of the reasons we're doing this conference. And so I think that's such a good transition into talking about the naturally attractive man because,
Yeah.
you know, we both believe that you don't have a dating life. Like your experience and my experience really focuses on dating and relationships, but also your lifestyle. Because to me and to you, you don't have a dating life. You just have a life. Everything is related. The way that you are, that's why we talk about loving your work because you're going to work every day, at least 5 days a week for however many hours. And that's a huge part of your life. And if that part of your life sucks, then that's going to bleed into your relationship and you're going to come home and with
Hmm.
your girlfriend or your wife, you're not going to be as happy. You're going to bring her down a little bit. And if you're not having a good
Right.
relationship, then you're going to take that to work and you're not going to be happy with your boss and then you're going to piss him off and then you're going to get fired or like you're not going to get a promotion or whatever. And so everything is connected and related. And so that's why Justin and I can teach you as much as you want to know about dating and relationship skills, for sure. But we also want you to develop your own sense of self-worth and your lifestyle because everything is related to each other. And that's part of being the naturally attractive man is continually actively creating the life that you really want and then sharing that with the people around you who naturally want the same things as you. And so Justin, for you, what does it actually mean to be the naturally attractive man?
For me, in all the people that I've coached over the years, it first started with tactics, right? And that's what everybody sees is, what do you say? What are some of the key
Yep.
words that start a conversation?
Sure.
And there's a philosophy there that I used to believe in, that if I just said the right thing, that's what makes me attractive.
Hmm.
And trust me, after getting rejected probably thousands of times, um, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But how you say it relates to what's going on internally.
Yep.
And so when those two things match up, when what you say matches or has a vibe of positivity to it, or has a grounded sense of self, then that's when you become an attractive man. And how do you do that? Well, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you stand for. And the reason why those two things are important, because when you get rejected, you don't just simply bow out and take it personally, which is what shoots 90% of the men out there in the foot, is just taking rejection personally. If you've never been
Yep.
in sales, you don't know you don't know how to. It's just not a skill that you've really ever developed in a positive way. And so when it comes to a naturally attractive man, and from my perspective and from what I've seen, is that you have to know who you are. You have to know who you stand for, so that when you're in moments of conflict, your belief system is so strong that it carries over to the frames of other people. If you want to talk about frame, well, actually,
Sure.
we'll talk about that later. But
Yep.
what it means is like when you go up there and you have a strong belief system, you have a strong inner core value system, and you go over there and you say something dumb or stupid, you're able to bounce back and not internalize their whatever their reaction is as something that means something against you. So that's a long answer,
It's good.
sort of to your question, but it really, in my mind, it's you got to have a little bit of the tactics and you got to have a little bit of this, the suave, or whatever, the swag, whatever you want to call it. But you also, like, that doesn't mean shit if you don't have your core handled. And if you don't know who you are or who you stand for or what your mission is in life, that's going to affect everything, not just with women, but again, how much money you make, your other friendships, and so on and so forth.
Definitely. And what you said just now provides a perfect transition into how I think about the attractive man, because something that
Yeah.
you said really clicked with me. And I think even beyond how you say things, what's the most important is the person who's saying it. If Brad Pitt or me says the same thing in the same way, which one is going to be more attractive? Brad Pitt. Why? Because he has high social status. And so you talked about, being afraid of rejection. The thing is, it's completely natural to feel that way because studies have shown that your brain actually processes being rejected psychologically like that the same way as like getting punched physically. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
we want to be in the in group because it's for our survival. If we're part of the in group, then we have a higher chance of survival. So your brain really wants you to be in the in group. But the difference between the guy who takes it personally and the naturally attractive man is that the naturally attractive man creates his own in group and he's deciding if other people can be part of that reality or not. So instead of you trying to be part of that girl's in group, you're trying to see if she's going to be part of your in group. So you are just now automatically the leader of your own in group, and people who are going to be naturally drawn to your personality and the things that you enjoy are now going to be part of that in group. And that's kind of a huge switch to make instead of trying to be in whatever in group is out there because there's a million of them. You could be part of a knitting club. You can be a sports fan of like I don't know, for God's sakes, the Cleveland Browns. You can be part of that. I wouldn't want to, but you could.
Right.
There's a million groups that you
Yeah.
can be part of, but now you're the
Right.
leader of your own in group, and that's one of the big switches that you make. And I think there's two.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I was gonna say I think that's a very important. It's flipping the frame of what do I need to be to fit into that, and you flip it to what's good for me,
Yep.
and then you go out there and find that.
And
So
actually, that's not selfish. That's actually less selfish because
yeah,
the more true you are to yourself, the less energy it is for other people to decide if they want to hang out with you or not.
or to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're flipping your frame around, you become into what other people need. You become really needy,
Yep.
really,
Yep.
really, really needy. And people, if you've ever hung around somebody that's really needy, you know what that feels like, right? And it's not that they're bad people, but it doesn't feel good because you feel responsible for them. And maybe it's like for me, sometimes I just feel bad for them, and it just doesn't feel good to be around.
It takes all your energy away. That they're
Right.
taking energy instead of giving it. When you act in the way that supports yourself, you're also giving because you're requiring less energy from other people to connect with you,
Hmm.
which is
Yep.
actually value that you're sharing. So that's a
Right.
huge switch. And then there's two other kind of really big switches that I think take place in the mind of a naturally attractive man. And by the way, nobody is born being the naturally attractive man. You have to learn it.
Right.
The guys who are naturals just learn those skills a lot younger. Maybe their dad was good with women or social skills or whatever, or their uncle or someone around them. And they just learned it through their environment. But you can learn it when you're
Right.
90 years old.
Right. There's no like gene for that,
No.
because if there was, I think we'd know about it by now. But there's
It,
no gene
it's,
that says, "Hey, I'm really good with people." It's a
yeah.
totally learned skill.
It's learned beliefs and behaviors. That's all it is. And you can learn them right now. And Justin and I are going to teach you those skills right now and also in Vegas. And so Two of the big switches that you make when you become the naturally attractive man. Number one, you have a vision for your life and for your dating life. You try to get more and more clear all the time about exactly what you want, and then that vision of your ideal life, pulls you forward to success instead of you trying to push yourself or just kind of being pulled around by the world around you. Because your parents want you to be a certain way. Society wants you to be a certain way. If you're
Right.
religious, your religion wants you to be a certain way. There's so many people trying to tell you who to be that if you don't have a vision pulling you forward towards who you really are, you're going to get pulled around endlessly. And so, part one big switch that you make when you become the naturally attractive man is having a vision for your life that pulls you forward to success. And when you come to Vegas, that's the first thing that Justin and I are going to do is make sure you're extremely clear on what you want for your life and what you want for your dating life. And that's already going to start you down that path to becoming the naturally attractive man. And then the second big switch that I think the naturally attractive man makes in his mind is instead of trying to get, whether it's trying to get money or trying to get women or trying to get friends or whatever it is, instead of trying to get, you switch from that to giving freely and expressing freely. And so
Yeah.
it's a cycle, right? Because when you know what you want by creating a vision and you know who you are, then you can start expressing that and people will naturally respond to that however they're going to respond, which makes you naturally attractive. You just express yourself at a higher level in a better way. And then the people that are naturally drawn to that and the money that's naturally drawn to you starts coming in. It's not magical. It's not like The Secret or something like that, right? It's not woo woo. It's just that when you know what you want, you know where you're going, and you believe in giving, then
Right.
you behave that way. And because of your behaviors, people respond to that. And the right people start to come into your life. And you might say, like, the right money comes into your life, for example. And so that's what we mean by naturally attractive, because you're heading towards your vision, and along the way you're expressing that freely, you're expressing yourself freely, you have better social skills to express yourself, and you're also giving freely. And we know about reciprocity, like when you're giving something, you get 10 times back from the world. There's no way around that. And that's what you and I both believe in. That's one of the values that we both learned along our journeys, is if you want to get, instead give freely. If you want love, you have to learn how to give love in a way that's appropriate. If you want money, you have to learn how to help other people get money or help other people get some value that you exchange for that. And so if you flip your thinking from how can I get women to what value am I going to be able to bring to women freely, then that's going to change your life. Because if you approach a woman trying to get her, good luck. But if you approach a woman like, I have so much value to share and I'm going to share it with her, and she rejects you, all she's doing is missing out on the value that you genuinely have to offer her. It's like Red Bull. I love this analogy, okay? My first girlfriend a long time ago was a Red Bull girl. And Red Bull's whole marketing strategy is they have cute young women and athletic guys drive around in a Red Bull truck and they give out Red Bull for free. They just give it away to people who probably want it because they're doing an athletic event or whatever. So their whole strategy is to give their product freely to people who probably want it. And so when my girlfriend was working for Red Bull, sometimes she would go into a company, for example, right? And the company would say, hey, you guys can't be here. Do you think they felt rejected? No, because they're just giving it away for free. Sometimes people still don't want what you have.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but if you're giving it, then it doesn't matter. Like, oh, sorry, you don't want my awesome free stuff? Okay, we'll go over here and give it to these people who want it. And guess what? Red Bull is now like the number one energy drink in the world, and they have a huge worldwide empire. And so that's a really good way to start thinking, like, how can you be like Red Bull? How can you raise your value and then give it freely? And when you approach dating that way, trust me, it will change your life.
How can you give your Red Bull away?
Boom.
I like that.
Be like Red Bull, baby.
I like that.
I say be like Red Bull all the time. I try to do it more every day. I notice that whenever I'm trying to get something, I don't do well.
Right.
Whenever I remind myself to be like Red Bull and give freely, all of a sudden I'm starting to succeed.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And one other thing that I think is really important, really, really important, and I don't think it's a word that really many people like to hear, but it's taking responsibility. Like, an attractive dude is somebody that takes 100% 100% responsibility for who they are as a person. And if I if you can't take that one step, in other words, if you can't take responsibility for things that you've said, things that you've done, whether it's good or bad, whatever you want to define it as, I don't think you can become an attractive person because you're just being somebody that is somebody else. You're not being yourself. And in order to be yourself, you have to take 100% responsibility for it, not just in social situations, but also with where you're taking your life, which kind of feeds back to the vision, and it feeds back to what you were saying about giving your Red Bull away, right? You have to take responsibility for that. And if you can't take responsibility for that, um, then you're just going to get the results that you've always been getting. So you got to take responsibility for your growth, which is what makes doing conferences are so cool, is because whenever we step into those doors, or whenever I do boot camps, whenever I even do just coaching, um, I know right off the bat that they took responsibility, and
Yep.
that on some level they're already responsible. And that's a beautiful step in any sort of personal development growth, whether it's your job, relationships, family, whatever. Taking responsibility is a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that up because one of the things I always tell the guys that I work with is when we're talking about giving freely, I say the only thing that we take is responsibility. And
Right.
I love that
Right.
because it's like
That's good.
responsibility is power. And here's the thing, most people are afraid of responsibility because it means that they're now in charge of their results and they can't blame other people or other things now. And look, we're not saying that external factors haven't impacted you. You know, like where you're born, who your parents are,
Sure.
what you look
Sure.
like, your background
Right.
experiences, all of that stuff definitely has an effect on you. But here's the thing that's magical about this. When you take 100% responsibility for your results anyway, even though it's not actually true, that's when you start to reclaim your power and stop being a victim and start being attractive.
Nailed it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Reclaiming your power.
it's
And it's
just
not this like alpha male thing. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's almost like, so you could call it reclaiming your power, you call it self-love. It's or having self-respect. Whatever term resonates with you personally. It's just about giving back to yourself instead of
Yep.
trying to live in a paradigm that just because you're trying to fit in, or because you're trying to get some certain needs wanted. We often. I'm not a psychologist. I'll just frame that, but we often go around um, seeking out our needs in the wrong ways,
Yeah, and I mean
and you have to recognize what that is for you. But ultimately, going back to what you're saying, not to get off into the weeds with that stuff, but it's about taking your power back, giving
yeah,
yourself the power
and you know, it can be scary, but the thing is if you keep telling yourself the same old stories, you're just re-victimizing yourself. So I think it's better
every time.
exactly. Like let's say you're playing poker, right? And you get Jack 9 and I get kings. Well, guess what? That's going to happen. So if you have Jack 9, learn how to
Right.
play that deal. You know, like you have to play the cards that you're given, and as soon as you accept the way things are and start moving forward, you're going to get everything that you want in your life. And that's what we want for you. Because, yeah, it's scary, but the only alternative is to stay where you are now and keep telling yourself the same victimizing stories and let other people have the power over you instead of taking the power over your own life. And until you take that responsibility and that power, you can't get the things that you want. And I think that's a huge
Right.
roadblock for most people. I mean, the reason why CEOs get paid so much, and we can argue whether it's actually worth it or not to pay them, whether they deserve it or not, one of the main reasons they actually do get paid that much is because most people don't want that responsibility. They don't want to sit in a congressional
True.
hearing and take the heat for
True.
what the shitty company's been doing. And
Right.
so it's a huge opportunity for you because most people are afraid of it. And if you just take it, you can take it anytime you want. You can take responsibility for your life right now. And if you do that, you're going to start down the path of becoming this naturally attractive man that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think this is a good segue. People that are watching this are obviously taking responsibility because they've
Yep.
they've had a curiosity, right? They're curious about how to get better. They recognize that there's something that they can improve upon, which is a great place to be. And well, that's lucky for them because we have plenty more to talk about, and we have plenty more to give
And
in the
it,
near future with these recordings.
again, these are things that I have to continually remind myself about because, I like you, I've been doing personal growth for about as long as you, and even
Right.
though I learned all these lessons and I've done it to some level, there's always another level that you can go to. And so maybe I've done
Yeah.
this in my personal life, but then I have to do it in my business. Like, no, here's how things are in the business world. Here's how things are in the market. Given that, what can I do? The naturally attractive man asks himself a very powerful question. Given the reality of this situation, what can I actually do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't wish for things to be different. You say, what can I actually do now? And I think that's the
Right.
point for moving forward.
Yep. Yep. What can I do? And how can I sell my Red Bull? Or how can I give my Red Bull?
Give it away, baby.
I'm stuck on the business theme. Okay, cool, man. Well, yeah, let's just wrap it up here. I think we've given our audience, I think we've given our men here plenty to think about and to chew on. And we have plenty more to give, which is really cool. So
Yeah, and
I'm looking forward to doing the next recordings and really getting we have a whole agenda of stuff that we want to put out. So I'm looking forward to banging that stuff out.
I'm really excited about next week because we're going to talk about vision. And again, we just talked about,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's so important. And I just can't wait to have a discussion like this with you. It's going to be really interesting for me. And hopefully it'll benefit you as well. And you know what? Sincerely, Justin and I cannot wait to see you in Vegas. We're so excited and it can't be overstated. We're not being hyperbolic. We actually are really stoked for this conference and to see you
Yeah, man.
in February.
Yep. Cool.
All right, so again,
Great.
I'm Jim Wolf, and this is,
Justin Jensen.
and we will see you next
Birds
time.
are great. All
Cheers.
right. Later.